So instead, he was excited for a board game themed speech. As mentioned, Chris's older cousin John, and when I think back to my first clear memory of Chris, it was in Canada, maybe 25 summers ago. We spent the day skipping rocks and opening up a new board game called Axis and Allies, which is based on World War II. Optimistically, I'd like to think it was then that I realized how close we were going to be, because I was a big fan of board games, and in order to play Axis and Allies when it's due, you need to take about 1,000 different pieces of these tiny tanks, fighters, and ships out of these plastic trays. And Christopher was totally down to spend a full day doing that. And he was only 5 years old, so he had the perfect tiny little hands to get in there. Do all the busy work. On Tuesday night, when we were discussing these speeches, Bitsy added that we could do a roast or a toast at the rehearsal dinner. Nobody took the roast route, so I figured, why not do that at the wedding? But when I sat down to start compiling a list of roastful things for Bissy, I quickly realized that I couldn't think of a single one. There are very few people in the world that are so intelligent, considerate, and driven, also formidable in any board game. To the point where, for such a positive collection of qualities, 1 in a million would be a colossal understatement. Bissy's 1 in a billion. They say it takes a village to raise someone, so I'd be remiss if I didn't offer a quick salute to Bissy's friends, family, and especially her parents for their part in her journey. And Steve, thanks for the tie. My journey with Chris proceeded from that Axis and Allies summer through many more summers at the cottage. Full of water sports, campfires, board games, until one summer I had accepted an internship in Northern Virginia, and Uncle Mike and Aunt Judy were gracious enough to let me stay at their place. Little did they know that I'd be an incredibly frequent house guest over the next 15 years. That was the really cool part though. Watching the kids grow up over those years, over family dinners, sports, questions of the night. One moment, Laurel's playing entry-level soccer, and then she's winning the natty. One moment, Uncle Mike's coaching Ian's youth baseball team, and then Ian's giving me stock recommendations that could have taken me to the moon. Once upon a time, I was helping Chris with his chemistry homework, and then in a remarkably short period of time, the tables have turned. And he's teaching me about so many different things in the world. He's grown up into a man with so many great qualities. He's true-hearted. He's there for the people close to him when it matters, whether it's flying across the country to spontaneously be there for an event that's important to someone that's special to him, or hopping in the car to a cross-country road trip to make sure that somebody can move efficiently. He's incredibly intelligent, calculating all the angles and pursuing the best result. He's considerate. He seeks to understand you exactly as you want to be understood and ensure that it's factored into every decision that's made. Bottom line, he's a man that I'm honored to stand next to, the guy I always look forward to long conversations with, and a mastermind who's tough to beat because he's a strategist that removes luck from the equation that matters the most in board games. Last night, for those of you that were there at the rehearsal dinner, you heard Fisher regale the crowd the story of how Chris first met Bissy. At the bachelor party, Chris told us about the sequel. Chris was back in Houston, and his friends were hosting a board game night. He was running super late, and as a direct result of that, they'd asked if he could pick someone up on his way. That someone turned out to be Bissy. They hit it off on a ride, and 3 days later, they went out on their first date. The day before the date with Bissy, Chris asked his college buddy Adam if he wanted to grab a couple of beers. They went out to a cool local place in Houston, had a solid low-key night out. But what Adam didn't know is that Chris was actually doing a test run for his date the next night with Bissy. The next night, he'd go back to the same place. Order the same thing. Wear the same clothes. Only his dinner guest was different. Again, he's a strategist. He knew right from the start how special Bissy was, and he wasn't going to leave something like that up to chance. The only luck he needed was that initial chance to pick Bissy up on the way to that board game night. Maybe the best part of listening to Chris tell that story was that right afterwards, Fisher says, I wonder if it was Bissy's idea to get a ride from you in the first place. We all sat there for a moment thinking. To bring it home and sum it all up, it's like the game of life, except instead of playing against him, I'm on his team, rooting for him every step of the way. And it's just so awesome to see him crush it with every major milestone. And now, he's sharing a car with an amazing woman, and you just know that for all the chapters that come after, that pair is going to do amazing things. Raise your glass, everybody, to the bride and groom. Cheers, cheers.
Coming up next is Claire. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for